नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 10, chapter number 83. Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna. The last verse of this chapter, verse number 43. Vrajastriyo yadvanchanti pulindyas trina virudaha gavas charayato gopaha padasparsham mahatmanaha vrajastriyo yadvanchanti पुलिन्द्यस्त्रिण विरुदः गावश्चारयतो गोपाः पादस्पर्शन् महात्मनः व्रजस्त्रियो यद्वाञ्छति पुलिन्द्यस्य तृणवृदुः विरुदः पुलिन्द्यस्तृणविरुदः गावश्चारयतो गोपाः पादस्पर्शं महात्मनः प्रजस्त्रियो यद्वाञ्छन्ति पुलिन्द्यस्तृणविरुदः गवश्चारयतो गोपा पादस्पर्शं महात्मनः प्रजस्त्रियो यद्वाञ्छन्ति गोविन्दं यद्विरुदः गावश्चारयतो गोपा पादस्पर्शं महात्मनः व्रजस्त्रियो यद्वाञ्छन्ति पुलिन्द्यस्तृणविरुधः पादस्पर्शं महात्मनः माताजी's व्रजस्त्रियो यद्वाञ्छन्ति पादस्पर्शं महात्मनः व्रजस्त्रियो यद्वाञ्छन्ति पुलिन्द्यस्त्रस्विनुदः गावश्चारयतो गोपा पादस्पर्शं महात्मनः प्रजा of Raja, Striyaha, the women, Yat as Vanchanti, they desire, Pulindayaha, the women of the Ab origin, Pulinda tribe in Vraja, Truna from the grass, Virudaha and plants, Gavaha the cows, Charayataha who is grazing, Gopaha the cowherd boys, Pada of the feet, Sparsham the touch, Mahatmanaha of the Supreme Soul. The translation is as follows. The queens are speaking of Krishna. We desire the same contact with the Supreme Lord's feet that the young women of Braja, the cowherd boys, and even the Ab origin Pulinda women desire. The touch of the dust he leaves on the plants and the grass as he tends the cows. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur reminds us of the jealous rivalry that always existed between the queens of Dwarka and the gopis of Braja. The gopis considered the sophisticated women of Dwarka as the most serious threat to their hold on Sri Krishna. Confessing their anxiety to Uddhav, Kasmat Krishna ihayati prapta rajyo hatahitaha Narendra Kanya Udvaya. Why should Krishna come back here after winning the kingdom, killing his enemies and marrying the daughters of the kings? Srimad Bhagavatam 10.47.45. Rukmini and her 7 chief co-wives considered themselves so fortunate in their relationship with Krishna as he appeared in Dwarka that they did not especially desire to see him as he is in Vrindavan. But the 16,000 queens, after hearing Uddhav describe Sri Radha's super excellent qualities, became attracted to touch the dust that falls from Krishna's feet onto the grass and plants of Vrindavan. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur indicates that some commentators give this as a reason why after the Musal Lila, these 16,000 queens were stolen from Arjun on the road by Krishna himself in the disguise of 16,000 cowherds, who then took them away to Gokul. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupak Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much to all of you. So this chapter is now ending. In summary, all of you know that Sri Krishna went to Kurukshetra at the time of solar eclipse to take his bath. And this happened to be just before the Mahabharat war, before the beginning of Mahabharat war. And then somehow there was a signal and message that all the Brajavasis should come there. So all the gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, cowherd boys, they all went to Kurukshetra. And then from that side, Sri Krishna with his queens and also Pandavas and also Krishna's queens, Pandavas, everybody from that side, Dwarka side also came. And there was a very unique meeting that took place there. Between many people met many people, as big groups of people came together. And all of us know that that is the beginning of the concept of Rath Yatra. Even though Radharani gopis interacted with Krishna, but they actually could not relate with him because they thought they would see the 10-year-old boy with forest flower garland, flute in the hand, without any footwear. They were expecting that kind of Sri Krishna to meet and also to have those kind of interactions that they used to have in Vrindavan. But they, from village mindset and village expectations, they went to city and they saw a very official atmosphere and Krishna coming on big chariot with kingly dress, with big crown and ornaments and footwear and thousands of soldiers up in front and behind and bugles and guards and accompanied by so many queens. So they just felt that, oh, why are you here? Please, let's go to Vrindavan. What is there in city, in the official atmosphere here? Let's go back to Vrindavan. Again, dance in the private groves, sing and dance and eat, graze the cows, and have those loving interactions. But they somehow couldn't express this inner thought of theirs in the official atmosphere. So what they did was, they, in the mind of their minds, tied those chariot of Sri Krishna with ropes and pulled those chariots into their hearts. I mean, in the hearts of hearts only they were pulling, but in the heart of their hearts they pulled those chariots from that place, Kurukshetra, to Vrindavan. And obviously their hearts were also Vrindavan, not different from Vrindavan, where there is love for Krishna. So that's how the concept of Rath Yatra actually began. Gopis with great love of affection, love and affection, in Madhurya Bhav, in pure conjugal loving sentiment, are pulling Sri Krishna to Vrindavan, who is also eager to go to Vrindavan. So Thakur Bhaktivedanta says that I would like to go and die there or be there because gopis were in separation for so many years actually. Intense separation from Krishna. But it was one kind of separation that they would not get to see Krishna. I mean, they would expecting every day, but at the end of the day or end of the night, they would know that he was not going to come. And they would break the garlands and destroy the food items and cry, beating their chest. And every day the crescendo was increasing, the peak was increasing, the feelings of separation were increasing. And but at the end of the every day, when the feelings of separation were increasing, there was no meeting with Krishna. And the uniqueness of Kurukshetra meeting is, after all those years of waiting, there was a call and there was meeting and there was darshan and there was everything. But it is like, suppose you are very hungry for 10 days and you come home and you are served a 56-item feast, and then you are told you're not supposed to have it. This khichdi is for you. So it's like, all this while you are hungry, you are not able to see any food items, so whatever you got, it was fine. But now, at the end of the story, you got to see so many items fuming with beautiful aroma, enticing your senses, is just close to you, you can just go and have it, and you are told that you are not supposed to have it, because after 10 days fast, you are not supposed to have heavy foods. You have to have khichdi with ghee, and afterwards in the evening you can have. You can imagine the feeling when you see the object of your senses in front of your eyes and you cannot interact with the object of your senses, lovable object, then the kind of feeling of separation that you get, such kind of feeling somewhat like that was experienced by gopis in Kurukshetra. Their beloved Lord, for whom they cried for so many years in separation, longing for his presence and association. He was right in front of their eyes, but he was not in front of their eyes the way they wanted to interact with him. And that is why it is said their feelings of separation reach their crescendo, the highest of all. When you have your beloved in front of you, but you cannot interact the way you want to interact, because of the social, inhibitions, or so many things were there. Most of them were not social, most of them were internal, in the heart. He was in Aishwarya Bhav there, and they were in Madhurya Bhav. It was like not clash actually, but the intense interaction between these two bhavas. And they underwent tremendous pain. And in that tremendous depth of their pain arose the concept of Rath Yatra, in which they pulled Sri Krishna in their heart back to Vrindavan. So Thakur Bhaktivedanta says, I would like to be there to assist gopis, because they were in so much separation, so much of pain. So this is the background of the Kurukshetra. This actually never occurred in front of eyes of anybody. It only occurred in the hearts of the gopis. But that bhav of the hearts of the gopis was so glorious that even today, for so many thousands of years, we are celebrating Rath Yatra in physical activity, in a physical way. We build the chariot and we pull the chariot, and we all are advised by the seniors to meditate on the bhav of gopis and Radharani, and how they, in their heart of the hearts, with great devotional feelings of love and affection, pulled Krishna to Vrindavan to celebrate their union in Vrindavan with them. So in this assembly, Draupadi went forward because she got opportunity to meet queens of Krishna. So she met with queens of Krishna. And as we discussed earlier, it was not like a usual gossip that they had. Draupadi very sincerely, because she had such love for Krishna actually. She had sisterly affection to Krishna, and so much appreciation and love she had. So she also looked at the queens of Krishna with that kind of respect, that you are also fortunate to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as your husband. So may I know how all of you got married to Krishna? I'm sure each of you must be having a very wonderful story, and sure it was. There were many wonderful stories of each and every gopi of queen of Krishna. And then we read all the variety of stories, how each gopi, how each queen got married with Krishna, ending with Lakshmana, the last one, who apparently took many verses in this chapter describing her marriage with Krishna. And then Rohini, who was the representative of 16,100 queens of Krishna. Sri Krishna had 8 principal queens. The last one, Lakshmana, described her story. And then Rohini, who was the representative of the 16,100 queens who were in the prison of Bhaumasura. She spoke, and then all the queens, they spoke this verse. Now we are in this verse, where they see that we desire the same contact with the Supreme Lord's feet that the young women of Braja and the cowherd boys and even the aborigine Pulinda women desire. That means what is very striking is the mood of the queens of Krishna. Although they were queens, they had the privilege of being with Krishna one-to-one in private association in their own palace. They were official queens of Krishna, they all that respect that they had with because of the wife of being wife of Krishna. They had a unique kind of fortune. That is called Swakiya Ras. So naturally, if one gets married with a simple woman, gets married with a big man, initially she is humble, but later on she considers herself to be very fortunate, and then she considers to be equal because she thinks I was deserving, so I got married with a big man, and then she behaves as if the big man. But here the queens of Krishna are maintaining their humility constantly. That is something very, you can imagine yourself, we are very ordinary people, and if men get married with a very rich man's girl, or a simple girl gets married with a very rich man's son, then initially she is very obliged and very grateful and very humble and feels undeserving. But later on in the course of time, she becomes proud. And her interactions change, her friends change, everything changes, her behavior changes. Now these ladies are not ordinary old ladies. 16,100 of them were in the prison. You can imagine how much they must have suffered there. Prisoners they were, Kaidi. And Sri Krishna came and rescued them from the prison house of Bhaumasur. And they said, thank you very much, my Lord, you released us. But now the only way remains for us is to go and commit suicide. Because our parents will not accept us. We have stayed one night and maybe many hundreds of nights in the prison house of some other man, out of the house. At that time it was a big cultural problem if you stay even one night in somebody else's house other than your father's house before marriage. So yes, you have released us from the pain of being in the prison and being called as prisoners. But now we have nowhere to go. Our fathers will not accept us. We have no social status. We are socially outcast, completely outcast. So Sri Krishna is so kind that those people, those ladies who are absolutely no ones, you can say, maybe as you say, Mr. Nobody, no value for existence of there in the world. Sri Krishna married them and gave them a status, gave them a social status of his wife. And they became queens of Krishna. And they got palace to stay with Krishna. Krishna gave them 10 sons and 1 daughter each. And they had such opulence, such respect, such royal situation. You can imagine. So Sri Krishna can lift somebody from the most fallen condition to the most highest position. And that's how these queens have become queens. And then, now when they are interacting with Draupadi, still their humility is very significantly exhibited. They are saying, we all at our best can become dasis, maid servants of Krishna. We can never claim to be qualified to become queens of Krishna. Even Rukmini thinks like that. She was thinking, I was going to be, like a jackal is going to swallow a deer. I was going to be like that in front of Shishupal. My life would have been ruined. I was thinking of committing suicide if you wouldn't have come on time. And then you came on time and you picked me up. Like a lion comes and picks up a deer in the middle of a group of jackals, very graciously. And you uplifted me from about to be a dangerous situation and made me your patrani. But still she never felt I was deserving. You see her, you read her letter, you'll understand how humble she was, how pleading she was, how much devotion and love and servitude she had to Krishna. Even Satyabhama would get angry in between, but the love and servitude that she had for Krishna was amazing. So the other queens also. And now they are thinking, even though they were queens of Krishna, they had the fortune of being with Krishna, they still appreciated the positions of gopis, who were very far from Krishna physically, were only crying and crying and crying in separation. Because of the contact of Uddhav. Uddhav ji went to Vrindavan and met with Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, met with cowherd boys. Of course, we will not go in details of that story. It's a very amazing, deep, intense expression of love and devotion of separation from gopis and the cowherd boys and Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. and likewise elderly gopas, and the birds, and the peacocks, and the cows, and the parrots, and the cuckoos. Everybody exhibited that deep sentiment of separation from Krishna in all the rasas. It was very, very stunning for Uddhav. And when Uddhav returned, naturally, you cannot see something stunning and just keep quiet after coming back. He had to discuss, he had to tell people what he experienced. He was totally a transformed personality. When he met all the gopis and all the cowherd boys, he just completely got transformed. All his so-called pride of knowledge, so-called royal existence, so-called opulent understanding of things, opulent behavior, opulent conducting himself, everything just got transformed. He found himself, felt himself, realized himself to be so low compared to the people whom he was meeting. He was completely in utter humility. And it's so much humility, he thought that I must get the dust of the lotus feet of these gopis. But he was feeling so humble himself that he didn't feel like he should demand the dust from them. He felt because he had external royal position and they had external simple position, if he would request them the dust, they would just deny. And not only deny, they will be very embarrassed to even say yes or no also. Even to hear such a line from his mouth, it would be very embarrassing to them. So he didn't even want to embarrass them, who had come in the guise of counseling the gopis with this Brahmagyan, with his knowledge received from Brahaspati, with his royal position and authority and instruction and empowerment that Sri Krishna had given him to counsel the gopis and make them, happy, maybe out of misery. In that position he had come. Still, he became so humble that he didn't want to embarrass them also. And look at his humility. He went back to Dwarka, gave all the report to Krishna, and he was meditating that I must get the dust of these gopis' lotus feet to have even the iota of feelings what they have, to experience the love that they had. So he was devising a long-term plan. The short-term easiest plan would have been, yeah, I understand you would be embarrassed, but I really beg you, please, I want your dust of your lotus feet. He didn't even do that. The humility means even the demand is not done out of humility also. And he performed tapasya in Vrindavan at the banks of Kusum Sarovar. I am sure it is not 7 days tapasya or a month's tapasya. It must be long tapasya. I have not yet found the time period for which he performed tapasya. But sure enough, it must have been long tapasya in such a cultivation of mood of humility. And he attained the birth of Gulmalata. He became blade of grass. And then he had thought that if I become blade of grass, then they will not have any hesitation, any embarrassment, any sankoch on walking over the blade of grass. Because he has seen them walking over blades of grass very comfortably. So he became that. He didn't even make the gopis feel that he was the blade of grass. And they walked upon him and achieved the dust of the feet of gopis. That personality is describing to the gopis the glories of, describing to the queens the glories of gopis and Krishna. And they are appreciating. Although they had the fortune of being with Krishna, they are appreciating. They are not saying, oh, they are so unfortunate, see how miserable, oh, poor things, they are suffering so much and we are so fortunate. As Uddhav understood that I am with Krishna so close, it is explained that Uddhava had the closest position to Krishna, of course not above his queens, but amongst everybody else. He would dine with Krishna, sit with Krishna, joke with Krishna, sleep with Krishna on his bed, go for hunting with him. In assembly he was the chief person. In every aspect, if one bhakta desires to be with Krishna, he had achieved already the highest position in proximity with Krishna. Plus the relationship that he had. Plus the body color also was Sri Krishna only. He looked like Krishna only. Everything. He was such a personality. He had knowledge from Brahaspati, educated by Brahaspati. Nobody can imagine anything above Uddhav that you would like to achieve. And he had already achieved that. Not for just yesterday. He was all time like that only. He was also cousin brother of Krishna. But still when he went to Vrindavan, he felt that these gopis are much, much more deeper in connection with Krishna, much, much more closer with Krishna, much, much more united with Krishna than I think I was united with Krishna. He had that realization. That means spiritual life is not physical. Spiritual life is state of consciousness. One can be anywhere. One can be closest to Krishna. One can be closest to Krishna physically and maybe consciousness was very far. So we can claim to be devotees of Krishna. But who is a bhakta? A bhakta is who is not vibhakta from Krishna, who is not separate from Krishna. That is bhakta. And that doesn't necessitate to be with Krishna physically, to show people that how close to you are you to Krishna. It's a matter of sentiment. And most of the times, essentially, this bhav is private. If somebody is close to Krishna, he doesn't have to exhibit to others. How much love you have for Krishna is not to be exhibited to anybody. You can do service to Krishna. You can do kirtan, you can do many things. But the bhav that you have for your beloved is not to be exhibited. Like the wife doesn't express her bhav for husband, husband doesn't express his bhav for his wife in public. It's a most confidential private affair. So like that, the devotion that the gopis had was something so extraordinary. Even the person who was closest, also in devotion, he didn't, not that he was not a devotee, he was only an official personality to Krishna's assembly. He had devotion also, great devotion. But still when he saw the superfluous nature of devotion and love what gopis had, he humbled himself. And in that mood of appreciation of gopis' situation, he was narrating the glories of gopis to the queens of Krishna. And because of that, although they were with Krishna, they developed the desire to attain the lotus dust of Krishna's feet from Vrindavan. What the cowherd boys would have, what the cows would have, what the peacocks would have, what the gopis would have, what they had attained. And a very beautiful description is given here. The touch of the dust he leaves on the plants and grass when he tends the cows. It is said that the gopis would decorate their body with kumkum, aguru and chandan and beautiful things. And then they would take lotus feet of Krishna to their bosoms tightly. And the souls of Sri Krishna would be colored with those beautiful things. And then he would walk on the grass, herding the cows, barefoot of course. And all the blades of grasses would have chandan, aguru and kumkum. It would be decorated with that. Whenever Sri Krishna would walk, all the blades of grass would have those beautiful colors. You just cannot imagine how beautiful it must be when this must be happening. And then it is said, the deers, they are not there. The deers would eat those grass, which was tainted with the kumkum, aguru and chandan. And they would go in ecstasy. And they would keep gazing Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam explains that these deers would worship Krishna with their eyes. They didn't have any agarbatti and lamp and flowers and ghanti and so many things. Simply with the ecstasy that they have derived from eating those grass, petal, grass, whatever, trunapatta, whatever devotion they had with that, looking at only Krishna, they would worship Krishna with their gaze. This is Vrindavan. Sri Vrindavan is not physical. In one sense it is existing in Mathura, 150 kilometers from Delhi and whatever. It is there, it will be there always. But more than that, Sri Vrindavan is actually a bhav with which all the inhabitants of Vrindavan conduct themselves. That makes actual Vrindavan. What makes Vrindavan Vrindavan is the exhibition of the loving sentiment of all the inhabitants of all various rasas in the variety of activities, how they exhibit their love for Krishna and how Sri Krishna interacts with them in response in variety of ways. That beautiful variegatedness of loving sentiments and interactions of Krishna with his devotees is actually Vrindavan. And now these queens of Krishna are attracted to that glimpse of Vrindavan. Isn't it so wonderful? So glorious that there is no limit to advancement in Krishna consciousness. One cannot say, okay, I have become queen of Krishna, now what is there to achieve? You have become CEO of the company, then what next to achieve? In the material world it is true. But in the spiritual world, you can unlimitedly advance in your loving relation with Krishna. Unlimitedly means unlimitedly, constantly, life after life or eternal life in Golok Vrindavan, there is no end to the loving sentiment. So even though they are wives, they desire that this wonderful sentiment we want to achieve. And that is why Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, because of these 16,100 queens, they heard from Uddhav. So they developed a desire. That is why Sri Krishna separately delivered them. How? When Arjuna went to Dwarka, after a long time, and to his utter surprise, he saw Krishna was not there. Krishna has left this world. After ending his pastimes, he decided to go away to Golok Vrindavan. So he was very sad. For him, Sri Krishna was everything. He didn't feel he existed without Krishna. Everything in the world was considered with Krishna only. When though he was physically not there or physically there, always he was fully Krishna conscious. Even Dharmaraj asked one time, why you chose Arjun to tell Gita? It could have been any one of us. We all love you. So Krishna said, I'll show you one day. And then one time Arjuna was sleeping and he called Yudhishthira and told him, go and put your ears and any part of his body. So Yudhishthira Maharaj went and put his ear. At every hair follicle there was Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. The holy name of the Lord being chanted. At every hair follicle, roam mein Sri Krishna ka naam. And that time Yudhishthira understood that, yes, we are on that platform. That Arjun was so much engrossed in love for Krishna as a friend, went to Dwarka and didn't find Krishna. He was so sad, as if he became Galita Gatra. He lost all his fervor, all his energy, everything, whatever he felt he had, lost. Morose, depressed. So he thought he should protect his wives. So he brought those 16,100 wives and he was trying to bring them back to Hastinapur. And on the way, he was attacked by cowherds. Cowherd tribe. They were all cowherd men. They were all herding cows. And Arjun was so powerful, he could defeat millions and millions upon millions of warriors. Rathis who were all on chariot, what to speak of, filled with weapons. He could anytime destroy them. As Brahannala, when he was supposed to be impotent by the curse of Urvashi in heavenly planets, 1 year was impotent. He was in that position also. He defeated the whole Kuru army, including Bhishmadev. He put them into Sammohan Astra effect and they all were on the ground. And the cows were taken back of Virata. He was so powerful. When he would make the twang of his Dhanusha, it would go all over universe, terrorizing the heart of the miscreants. So powerful. And he himself was coming with the same Gandiva Dhanusha with the queens of Krishna. And the coward men defeated him, humiliating him with a defeat. Parast kar diya unko. So he was so sad. He could understand how the same Gandiva, same me, same skill, everything same. Sri Krishna wanted to show him that all your skill, all your prowess, all your strength, all your greatness is because of me. Now I am not there, so everything is gone. And we have to also understand, all of us, that whatever we think, even devotion that we have, whatever we think we can do in Krishna consciousness and our service to Guru and Krishna is all because of the power given by Sri Krishna only. What we can do if there is no power, no energy and no strength, no brain, no hands, no legs, no desire? All is given by Sri Krishna and those we are executing in service to Krishna. So Arjuna came to a great realization. I was the Mahadhanurdhar, champion Dhanurdhar of the whole universe only because of Krishna. I could win the hand of Draupadi only because of Krishna. I could do so many things in my life only because of Krishna. That great realization Sri Krishna bestowed upon Arjuna through that occasion. It was externally a painful event of going through defeat, who was never defeated. So going through a defeat for that person is a worst experience. For one who is always honored, dishonor is the worse than death. For who is always victorious, defeat is worse than death. For one who is in the war, who who can be killed but he is released without killing is worse than death. For a warrior like Arjun to get defeated with cowards, not even Kshatriyas, whom he could defeat easily anywhere else, any other time, to get defeated by them was worse than death. So externally, very, very, very painful situation, but internally, very nourishing situation, very realizing situation. So he was sad externally, but he was nourished within. He understood that all my glory, all glory is to Sri Krishna. He understood that point. And all those coward men was Sri Krishna himself. To teach a lesson to Arjun, a very great lesson, Sri Krishna became all those 16,100 coward men and stole the ladies and took them away. And another part of the Leela, he actually delivered all those queens back home, back to Godhead. Now remained 8 queens. I did little research. I was not very convinced about all this thing, but then I did research and I got the answer that in one Kalpa pastime, all the 16,100 and the 8 principal queens, they all went to Kusum Sarovar, which story I will tell you, and they were delivered. In another Kalpa, the 16,100 wives were taken by Arjuna and stolen by the coward men, and they were delivered by Krishna. And then the 8 queens went to Kusum Sarovar. Krishna had instructed Uddhav that his wives will come to Kusum Sarovar in Vrindavan. And Krishna had instructed Parikshit Maharaj and Vajranab that when I will go away my queens, please take them to Uddhav. And Uddhav will be the means of their deliverance. So if you see, Uddhav is one personality who is the cause of deliverance of all his queens. 16,100, he inspired them by telling the stories of gopis and Krishna in Vrindavan. So they got the inspiration to achieve the dust of Krishna's lotus feet. They were specially delivered by Krishna. And the other 8 queens also Uddhav delivered. How? They all were brought to Vrindavan and they met Yamuna river flying like waves, currents. That means happiness. So they were asking, Are, you are our co-wife. We are so sad because of losing Krishna as a husband. And how you are so happy? So she said, we are all parts and parcels of Radharani in Vrindavan. So in our existence, even though there is sorrow, there is always ecstasy in sorrow also. The secret of this dichotomy, you please go to Kusum Sarovar and meet Uddhav there. Uddhav is residing there in the form of blade of grass. You go and do Sankirtan and Uddhavji will come out. And then he will instruct you, enlighten you about the secret of how to be in ecstatic experiences, although you are in painful situations externally. So they went to Kusum Sarovar. And there these queens of Krishna, they performed ecstatic Harinam Sankirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We can only simply imagine what must be the intensity of that Sankirtan, which the principal queens of Krishna were performing at the banks of Kusum Sarovar on the dust of Sri Vrindavan Dham. And by the power of the Harinam Sankirtan, Uddhavji came out in his human form, from the form of blade of grass, from the form of Gulmalata. And he sat at the banks of the place where he performed tapasya, that is Uddhav Kund, which is just next to Kusum Sarovar. And there he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam for 30 days. The queens were all crying because of separation of Krishna. As soon as Uddhavji began his Bhagavatam, immediately their misery was mitigated. What does that mean? Because they experienced Krishna as soon as the first verse of Bhagavatam was spoken. Sri Krishna left this world and immediately appeared in this world as Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. So as soon as a person like Uddhav, who had such high level of realization, spoke the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, all the queens immediately felt happy because they felt they were with Krishna. And then they heard from the lotus mouth of Uddhav, with so much of love he was narrating, he narrated Srimad Bhagavatam to them. There was no hurry, there was no time limit of 7 days. He was leisurely explaining from the bottom of his heart the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the queens were floating in ecstasy of association with Krishna. When 10th canto came and their stories were narrated by Uddhav, they actually saw themselves in front of their eyes, their form, uniting with Krishna in marriage. And at the end of Srimad Bhagavatam, they merged with that form and went back to Godhead. With their own form which they saw as if the drama was being enacted, they became one with those forms of their own and then entered Golok Vrindavan. So Uddhavji, two things he glorifies: the power of Harinam Sankirtan and the power of Srimad Bhagavatam. That was exhibited at the bank of Kusum Sarovar. How that made even Sri Krishna's wives go back to home, back to Godhead. So this is how the queens of Krishna got delivered finally. And so it's a wonderful narration and description how the various devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam relate to Krishna, how they exhibit their unique, most intense, deep sentiments of love, and how nourishing it is to even contemplate on the bhav of these queens of Krishna, who are humbly contemplating on the bhav of the gopis and meditating on the fortune of the blade of grass also, meditating on the fortune of the cows and the peacocks of Vrindavan. So there is always something to aspire for. In the highest of all your positions, there is something always to aspire for which is higher than what we think we are. So that is why Sri Krishna consciousness is ever expanding, ever growing phenomenon. It is never boring and it doesn't end anywhere. That's why devotees can go on serving Krishna. Like Prabhupada said, he was asked, what do you get out of chanting? He said, chanting. What do you get out of more chanting? More and more chanting. And what will you do in Golok Vrindavan? Also chanting. To serve Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Also it is said that there is some unique explanation which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains here. There was an eternal, subtle rivalry between gopis and Sri Krishna's wives. They would always think, see how fortunate they are, they have grasped our Krishna. Oh, le liya unhone hamare Krishna ko. Who was in Vrindavan, so much happiness we had here. But why would he come back now? He has married so many queens and he had conquered the enemies and he has got kingdom and such opulence. Why will he remember us? That kind of loving sentiment they would express. But actually there was no rivalry. There was so much love and appreciation. Sometimes in between lovers, exactly what they do nobody understands. How they, even in fighting also they express their love, only they understand. So for that we have to pray to the gopis and queens of Krishna to give us a glimpse of the understanding of the relationship that they had with Krishna and how they served with Krishna even in the mood of getting angry. So today is also a festival of Hera Panchami. How a devotee or a lover gets angry with Krishna with love only. So what happens is, we explained about the concept of Rath Yatra. So Rath Yatra is from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan. So Jagannath is always eager to go to Vrindavan, although he is from Dwarka, staying with Lakshmi Devi and queens there in Jagannath Puri in the mood of Dwarka. Still his heart is longing for Vrindavan. So as soon as he gets fever and he gets well with fever, a long story of course, he gets fever and then he is bathed with 70 to 80 to 100 liters of chandan and camphor oil in between the Anavasara period. The pujaris say that when we do the abhishek of this chandan oil is made 1 year back and put underground. And with one family only traditionally keeps making the chandan oil in the previous year and kept underground and taken out on the day of requirement in between the Anavasara when Jagannath is in the peak of fever. And then very ceremoniously this pot is, with music and guards and everything, the pot is carried to the temple of Lord Jagannath and he is bathed with that. And 7 to 8 days, the pujaris, they say we smell of that chandan oil. However we take bath 3 times a day. And then Lord gets well, and as soon as he gets well, he's closed doors for 15 days. He's so bored, so he wants to go out. And what he thinks first, he wants to go to Vrindavan. So he tells his associates, get us ready, let's go. Let's get the chariot ready and go. So he tells his wife, Lakshmi Devi, who is not different from Radharani, but because Sri Krishna is in Jagannath Bhav, Aishwarya Bhav from Dwarka, she also assumes Lakshmi Bhav of Aishwarya. So she is told by Jagannath that I will come in one day. And he takes his brother and sister and goes to Gundicha, that is Sundarachal, that is Gupta Vrindavan. But he doesn't come next day. So she waits for a day, 2 days. My husband has promised me he'll come back. So she gets angry on 5th day. She said, what nonsense is? He told me he'll come next day and he's enjoying there with everybody, with his brother and sister, and he left me behind here. So she tells, come on, everybody get ready. Let's go and ask question to Krishna. Jagannath ji, why? Why you are not coming back? What are you doing there? What is there so much great that you don't have here? So it is said that this festival was before in a very subtle form. They would only chant shlokas on this day and narrate. But when King Kapilendra Dev came, many before Dwapar Yuga actually, he came and he made a golden idol of Lakshmi Devi called Suvarna Lakshmi. And he started worshipping her as Lakshmi. And then he would physically make the festival enact. So in which all the Sakhis who are supposed to be Lakshmi Devi's servants, then there are families in tradition who serve Lakshmi Devi only. All of them get ornament, they get decorated in opulence completely, and they get ready, they put Lakshmi Devi in the form of golden Lakshmi, Suvarna Lakshmi on a palanquin, decorate her fabulously with ornaments, shining, and they start traveling. I've seen this festival one time. I can tell you, it was pouring like anything in the middle of the night. So much rain was there that only because we had gone there we had to go, otherwise nobody will get out of the rain on the road. Water was there till chest. All of us walking till the water in the chest. And Lakshmi Devi's all Sakhis, everybody who decorated also walking in this much of water. And she was on the palanquin just above the water. And the pujaris were walking so in the middle of night, it was 1 o'clock in the night that day, Hera Panchami day. And they are walking so fast, I could see how angry Lakshmi Devi must be. That energy of anger is also empowering the associates. And they are carrying her, and they are all walking. We are also walking next to Lakshmi Devi, watching her great pastime. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so what happens is Lakshmi Devi then goes on 5th day. So there are many things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first performed Gundicha Marjan. Then there was Rath Yatra. Then everybody rested. They went to Jagannath. They went to temple. And now they are in the mood of observing the beautiful pastime of Hera Panchami. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, see, Lord Jagannath, although he is staying in Nilachal, but is always eager to go to Sundarachal. That is where Gundicha Mandir is. That is where Vrindavan is hiding in the bushes. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu situated himself in the temple, and King Pratapruta said that this time you should arrange Hera Panchami festival so gorgeously, decorate everybody so gorgeously, make prasadam double the time of Rath Yatra. It should be so opulent that Mahaprabhu Chaitanya should feel so great happiness, waves of ecstasy within him. He instructed Kashi Mishra and all the in charges. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu situated himself in temple, and then Swarup Damodar was there next to him. It is called Hera Panchami because Prabhupada explains Hera means watching, and 5th day of Ashad Mas is Panchami. So then the time came when they were discussing why this happens. So Swarup Damodar is asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why she is getting angry when you have so much of love? He first asked Swarup Damodar, why did Lord not take his wife Lakshmi Devi to Sundarachal? Swarup Damodar said that, Sundarachal is Vrindavan, and there is no entry of Lakshmi Devi to Vrindavan. Nobody can enter with Aishwarya Bhav in Vrindavan. That's why all the acharyas tell us that keep your Rajaguna, Aishwarya at home and go with Sattva Guna to Vrindavan. Then only you get entry. Otherwise physically you go and physically you come back. Spiritually you enter Vrindavan. Lakshmi Devi came when Ras Leela was being performed. Lakshmi Devi never leaves the chest of the lotus feet of Krishna, Vishnu in Vaikuntha. She is the Seva Dasya, Pada Sevanam Acharya. But when she hears the flute of Krishna, she leaves the feet of Vishnu. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one time asked Venkata Bhatta in Srirangam, how your Lakshmi left? She is so chaste, no? You are Sri Sampradaya, followers and your mistress is Lakshmi Devi. See, she is also leaving her service to Vishnu and going somewhere else. How do you explain that? Venkat Bhatta was quite embarrassed that time. But anyway, Lakshmi Devi came down, attracted by the sound of the flute. From Vaikunta she came down, wanted to enter Ras Leela. Lalita and Vishaka stopped her. Said, Madam, you cannot go inside. Why? I am Lakshmi Devi. I have come from Vaikunt. Said, yeah, our Dandavat Pranam to you for that. But only those who have trained themselves how to lift cow dung, how to clean the goshala, how to milk the cows, how to clean the cows, how to massage their feet, how to feed them, how to make cow dung cakes, dry them, lift them, carry them back to the home, nicely arrange. You need to get trained, madam, for all these things. No, I am Lakshmi Devi, I cannot do all these things. He said, sorry, then you cannot enter unless you become the maid servant of all the gopis. So she couldn't give up her Aishwarya. So she went. And she went to Bilbavan, the favorite place of Krishna's cowherding pastimes. And she started performing tapasya. It is said, still today she is performing tapasya there. Of course, she is not different from Radharani. But what is being taught here is that with bhav of Aishwarya, of opulence, one cannot connect with Krishna in Vrindavan. However you, whatever you are, whoever you are. The demigods cannot come with footwear in Vrindavan. They have to put their vehicles and footwear out of Vrindavan and come barefoot in Vrindavan. They cannot stay overnight in Vrindavan. They only have to do some business, some pastime, some talking here and there and go. Nobody has night residence in Vrindavan, although they are demigod, because they are having tinge of opulence in them. So Lakshmi Devi cannot enter Vrindavan. So Swarup Damodar is explaining Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because she is in Aishwarya Bhav, that is why Lord Jagannath told her, ki I will come back in a day, and left her behind and went. So then in the meantime, when this was being discussed between Swarup Damodar and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, suddenly the Lakshmi Devi arrived. Of course the palanquin, with Suvarna Lakshmi inside. And her servants were so gorgeously dressed, but they were extremely in anger, because she was also in great anger. Like, sometimes when you, not angry yourself, but you meet an anger personified personality, you get affected, no? You also start getting heartbeats, and your happiness ends, and you start looking at that personality, and he spreads the anger consciousness. So like that, the anger of the Lakshmi Devi and her associates was so strong that everybody got stunned, and they got down she got down from palanquin. And what she did, she ordered her servants, arrest all the pujaris, all the servants of Jagannath. So they just went like soldiers, and started arresting everybody, grabbing them by neck, by hands, by twisting their hands, and they all threw them under the lotus feet of Lakshmi Devi. And they were so scared and trembling, looking at the mood of all these servants of Lakshmi Devi, that they just surrendered to lotus feet of Lakshmi Devi, begging pardon, touching her feet. Everybody was like falling at their feet. And the way the avesh was so strong, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar, everybody was stunned. And they also started holding their lips and started laughing also. Okay, look at this man surrendering to the women. And the news went to Jagannath that she is in so much anger, she is grabbing everybody of your associates and servants, and she is making them, they are beating them, they are throwing them at the feet of your wife Lakshmi Devi. So Jagannath said, I don't want to get involved on these things. So he just told him, close the door and send one garland. So as soon as she wanted to enter from Bododonda gate, they closed the door and one garland was sent to her. She got very angry. She just thumped her right foot on the ground in anger, and without entering the temple, she was encircled temple and came out and instructed her maid servants, break these spokes of this Nandi Gosha tree. With this chariot he has come from Nilachal to here. Let me see how he comes back, and let me see what to do when he comes back. Why she is so strong? Because she knows the whole existence of Jagannath in Jagannath Puri is based on what? Eating prasad. And kitchen having 700 burners and thousands of pots, and day to day, gorgeous cooking, opulent cooking is going under whose guidance? Lakshmi Devi, who is the chief mistress of the kitchen. So she first breaks that spokes of the Nandi Gosha chariot, And then thumping her feet, she gets on the palanquin and goes angrily back. And then Lord Jagannath, he's like in the mood of gopis and Vrindavan, so he forgets all these things. And then another 4 days he nicely enjoys his gopis, and time comes to go back, and he has no idea what's going to happen. So then, by the way, this happens, and Lakshmi Devi goes back, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is again asking Swarup Damodar, okay, how is this, with so much of love you have, how one gets angry like this? Even Swarup Damodar says, I have read about so many lovers and everything, but I have not read or seen in my experience of whole life, a lover gets so angry. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, why it is like that? Please explain to me this loving sentiment and anger. I don't understand this. So Swarup Damodar, who is Lalita himself. So he says that there are 3 kinds of lovers. One is dhira, one is very sober, and one is adhira, restless. And there is third category, dhira adhira, sober and restless together. But still, sober means they don't get angry. Like Rukmini Devi wouldn't get so much angry. Even Krishna also teased her and she felt unconscious. She didn't get angry. But Krishna cannot do that with Satyabhama. So Swarup Damodar tells that, I have seen Satyabhama, but I don't see so much anger in Satyabhama also. It is always mixed with love. She is very tricky and she is a very unique lover. She gets angry with Krishna. She makes him do things, but I have not seen such anger in Satyabhama also. So there are dhira lovers and there are restless lovers. So when you are in love with somebody and the lover neglects you for some reason, then you get angry. Then you start throwing tantrums. And dhira adhira, initially sober and then get angry. That is dhira adhira. And at that point then Chaitanya Charitamrita goes on describing in hundreds of verses next about this variety of loving sentiments of variety of lovers with Krishna. So we will not get into that. But suffice to understand that this festival is so wonderful actually that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went in ecstasy in talking about it, in seeing it, in experiencing the love between Jagannath and Lakshmi, and whatever happened was very, very relishing spiritually. So he was very happy actually. And then what happened? Let us complete the story also. Then after 4 days, Jagannath sits back on Nandi Ghosha and they go back without knowing and expecting anything that's going to happen. And they are about to enter, Jagannath about to enter the door of temple. At that time the news goes that he has come back. So Lakshmi Devi comes in great anger, stands at the door, looks at Jagannath and bangs the door on his face, goes inside, says, do whatever you want, I am not going to let you. I forgot to tell you one thing. As soon as she goes back, she breaks all the 700 burners into ground, into powder. Let me see how he survives when he comes back. He is insulting me. What does he think of himself? I will starve him after he comes back. So that kitchen is totally destroyed. Last time when I went for Bahuda Yatra, the kitchen was totally destroyed. And time of Bahuda Yatra, the kitchen was about to be made again with fresh cow dung and fresh earth. I could see the vibration of the love of Lakshmi Devi in very different mood. So then, suddenly Jagannath is stunned. Jagannath doesn't know. He didn't expect that. Baldev and Subhadra don't want to get involved in this affair. Who will get into this? It's a very difficult affair. So they are sitting quietly. All the servants of Jagannath are crying. What to do, my Lord? My Lord is on the road now. He has no entry. Who can speak to Lakshmi Devi? She is so angry. She was so angry there also. Now she is also angry because now you have come back home. So what to do? What to do? Everybody is crying. Jagannath is crying. And then suddenly, after a long time of sitting on the chariot, Jagannath's servants get idea. Why not decorate you with golden ornaments? Maybe we'll decorate you so nicely, so beautifully, that looking at you, her anger will melt and she will again develop love for you. So they start decorating Jagannath. Last year I saw that full event of very, very beautiful coordination of bringing the huge jewelry and decorating. It is said 1,000 kilos of gold jewelry is there for one person, that is Jagannath. 1,000 kilograms of jewelry of gold. And they were bringing one by one very systematically and decorating him. Now if somebody is being decorated, generally is happy, right? Suppose some bridegroom is being decorated by his friends, should be happy. But no, he is being decorated in the best possible way, Shunavesh. But he is crying tears that who knows, even after all these things, whether she will look at me or not. What is the guarantee, my friends? I know your love for me, I know your hard work, I know your concern, I know you are so concerned about me. But I appreciate what you are doing, but I don't know what's going to happen, because the way she behaved, I cannot imagine what is going to happen. So you are being decorated in the best possible way, still he is crying. You have seen any bridegroom like that? He is being decorated to get married and he is crying. Because he is also experiencing the anticipatory fear about his lover. He is also experiencing a joy of ecstasy of love in a different form. And then whole night they decorate. And again Lakshmi Devi is thinking, oh, let me see, kya ho raha hai bahar? And she comes out and to see him, how is he? And she sees him, wow, so beautiful, so gorgeous, so shining. Everybody is, with held breath, they are waiting. What will be the reaction? Anger, acceptance, rejection. What is going to happen? They don't know. So they are also experiencing peak of their feelings. And by the mercy of the Lord and by the mercy of Lakshmi Devi, she forgets all the anger. Her anger just melts away looking at the beautiful lotus face and the darshan of Lord Krishna and Jagannath. So she immediately smiles. It is also said that Lord Jagannath, goes down, up and down again and again, pleading, bending and pleading and blending and pleading, please take me, please take me. And then she allows him to go inside. And the whole Leela of Shunavesh ends there. Such a beautiful pastime. So, it is said that in the celebration of Lakshmi Devi's acceptance, Sri Krishna, Jagannath feeds a Rasagulla. So that day Rasagulla Mahaprasad is there. And then Lakshmi Devi happily reconstructs all the kitchen. And the new fresh cooking starts by the wood of Rath Yatra. By the way, the wood is actually coming from, the 3 Raths are then broken into wood pieces, and that they are given in the kitchen for the whole year. And you all will be happy to know that this wood, which makes the chariots, making of chariot begins in the Akshaya Tritiya day. And it requires 600 fussy trees. And ISKCON Bhubaneswar has, in the British collaboration with British Corporation, has got 150 acres of land in the forest somewhere near Bhubaneswar. And the calculation of the trees is such that they have so many thousands of trees they plant each year, so that each year at the time of Akshaya Tritiya there are 600 fully grown trees available. And they are being transported from there to the road of Jagannath Puri. And on Akshaya Tritiya, with those trees grown by our devotees in collaboration with British Corporation, the chariot is being made. And then the chariot wood also is going in the kitchen for the cooking of Lord Jagannath's items. So this is a very wonderful festival of Hera Panchami. Lord Lakshmi Devi is a very unique exhibition of loving sentiment. And Lord Jagannath's reaction to that, how much subservient the Lord is to the loving sentiment of his devotees. There is no need for the Lord to, they are all his expansions, all his energies, Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, all are his energy only. But he is hungry of only one thing, the loving sentiment. All variety of loving sentiment, as Rupa Goswami explains in Nectar of Devotion, in anger, in disguise, in joking mood, in criticizing mood, in sarcastic mood, all loving sentiments he enjoys. And that is what the wealth of Golok Vrindavan and Bhauma Vrindavan is. This variety of loving interactions between he and his devotees. So on this day of Hera Panchami, also Vakreshwar Pandit took birth. This Vakreshwar Pandit's birthday today. Is that right? Appearance day. On the Panchami of Ashad month, he appeared in this world. It is explained in Gaura Ganodesha Deepika that he was Aniruddha from Chaturvyuha. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. This is Chaturvyuha. Originally is Sri Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, who expands into Balaram as Lila avatar, the first avatar to perform Lila and then many other activities. And Balaram expands into Chaturvyuha. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes 4 personalities. And these 4 personalities appeared as Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrugna in Treta Yuga. And one of the personalities, Aniruddha, appeared in Kali Yuga as Vakreshwar Pandit as per Gaura Ganadesha Deepika. But there is another understanding, because Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Charitamrita devotees are very unique devotees. For example, Advaita Acharya is Sadashiva also and Mahavishnu also. Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Devi also and Arjun also. So two personalities entered in one personality to perform various pastimes with Gauranga Mahaprabhu, being very unique personality, unique incarnation of Krishna. Very unique. Sri Krishna himself, but Radha Bhav. And Radharani separately also incarnates as Gadadhar Pandit. So like that, there are many personalities. So as per the disciples of Vakreshwar Pandit, that is Gopal Guru Goswami, his disciple is Dhyana Chandra Goswami. He wrote a book called Dhyana Chandra Paddhati. In that he mentions that previously in Vrindavan, he was Tunga Vidya Gopi, who was a great dancer and a singer in Vrindavan Dham. And that same personality came in Chaitanya Lila as Vakreshwar Pandit. This Vakreshwar Pandit was a very unique transcendental personality. It appears from his Lila that he never existed materially and physically in this world. He was always on the transcendental platform. It is said that he started a unique sampradaya. There were 4 sampradayas existing in Kali Yuga out of 12. 8 are not very prominent and 4 are going on. Everybody associates and takes shelter of the 4, one of the 4. But he began 5th sampradaya. That 5th sampradaya was dancing. Sampradaya of dancing. His dance was so ecstatic that people would just get mesmerized just looking at him dancing and singing. At one time, he danced for 72 hours in Srivasangan in the presence of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya was singing when he was dancing. And what did he say to Lord Chaitanya? Oh, you whose face is as beautiful as the full moon, please give me 10,000 Gandharvas. Let them sing all at once when I dance, and then I will be greatly happy. The Lord said, you are so wonderful, Vakreshwar. You are one of my wing. If I had another wing like you, I would be greatly happy and I would be flying like a bird. This is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sang and accompanied him, and he said that Lord Chaitanya greatly enjoyed the dancing of Vakreshwar Pandit. Vakreshwar Pandit also danced when Rath Yatra was going on. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made 7 groups. In one of the groups, Vakreshwar Pandit was lead dancer. There's a very great description who were there. But in one of the groups, Vakreshwar was the lead dancer. And then in the house of Srivas Pandit, there were many dramatic performances. And Vakreshwar Pandit would be lead actor and chief dancer and chief singer in that. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first began Sankirtan, Leela, Vakreshwar Pandit was the most important ingredient of that Sankirtan Leela. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Ramakeli, Vakreshwar Pandit accompanied him there. So many things are there. One important pastime of Vakreshwar Pandit was that he delivered a personality called Devananda Pandit. Now some of you may be knowing that at one point of time in one village called Kulia, Devananda Pandit was a great scholar. Today also we have Devananda Pandit Mutt, Devananda Pandit Gaudiya Mutt, Devananda Gaudiya Mutt. He was a very great personality. A very great personality would bring tears out of the eyes of the audience when he would narrate Bhagavatam. But somehow because of his status as a Bhagavat reader, Bhagavatam Acharya, he had developed some pride in his heart. And he would narrate Bhagavatam. One of his narrations of Bhagavatam in audience was Srivas Thakur. And last time we discussed that when Srivas Thakur started hearing Bhagavatam from Devanand Pandit, he started developing ecstasy. He got up and started dancing in the audience only. I hope one of you don't get up and dance, because I am not Devanand Pandit anyways. But imagine a scenario where everybody is listening with rapt attention and someone just starts getting up and dancing. So you would say he's a crazy person, take him out of he's a nuisance, a disturbance, please take him out. But Devanand Pandit saw Srivas Pandit going in ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya then later on explained to him in Mahaprakash Leela, Srivas, do you remember? I appeared in your heart at that time when Devananda was narrating Bhagavatam. Because I was dancing in your heart, you got up and started dancing. Do you remember? Like that he is talking at Mahaprakash Leela at Srivas Angan. Later on. So at that time, some disciples of Devanand Pandit signaled each other, got up from the audience, lifted Srivas Pandit and threw him out of the audience. Still Srivas Pandit did not accept any offense. And Devanand Pandit did not do any reaction, as if nothing happened. He didn't mind Srivas Pandit being thrown out, as if he approved. Good, you did whatever you did. So this was the offense, Vaishnava Aparadh. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the house of Srivas Angan, he came to know that this happened and he was very angry. And what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if one studies the book Bhagavat but doesn't respect devotee Bhagavat, he is an offender. One may study the Bhagavat in that way for hundreds and hundreds of kalpas, he will not make any progress towards Krishna Prem. So everything, whatever we do in Krishna consciousness, if it is done with pride, and the pride will make you offend Vaishnavas, everything becomes zero. All our chanting, all our services, we may have done great services in the eyes of devotees, but if you have Vaishnava Aparadhis, Krishna doesn't consider any of them. He doesn't care any of them. And that doesn't mean that you have to only offend higher, you only offend when you are advanced devotees, then only all this thing happens. Even if you offend the least of his devotees, in your eyes, all these reactions follow. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is saying, even if you read Bhagavatam for kalpas together, many, many kalpas, you will not make any progress towards Krishna Prem. The book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat are non-different. One who is sincere to know the meaning of the book Bhagavat must serve the devotee Bhagavat. Without serving the devotees, the essence of this scripture will not be revealed in the heart of the devotees. Mahaprabhu was indifferent towards Devanand Pandit and did not bestow Krishna Prem upon him. He didn't care. What to speak of him? He didn't even give Krishna Prem initially to his mother also, because she apparently had offended Advaita Acharya. So she had to do atonement. Then he gave love of Godhead to his mother also. What to speak of Devanand Pandit? So then what happened one day, Vakreshwar Pandit was in Kulia and he was performing his dance in ecstasy. And he said many hours he was dancing and people were gathering one after another. Beginning there were few devotees, then there were more devotees, then there were more devotees, more and more devotees. And Devanand Pandit came there. And it is said when Vakreshwar would dance and sing, it will mesmerize everybody and melt the hearts of everybody. So as soon as Devanand Pandit saw Vakreshwar dancing, his heart melted. It developed appreciation. His Panditya pride melted away. It developed appreciation for the Vakreshwar Pandit. And soon people gathered and they started pushing. So what he did is with his cane, he controlled people and let Vakreshwar dance in the mood that he was in without disturbing him. So he stopped people, prevented people from disturbing Vakreshwar Pandit dancing in such ecstatic love of Godhead, mesmerizing and showering everybody with love. After many hours, Vakreshwar Pandit came back to his external consciousness. He cooled down, we can say. And then he saw Devanand Pandit. He brought Devanand Pandit close to his bosom and he said, may Krishna give love of Godhead to you. May Krishna Prem be bestowed upon you. And after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Jagannath Puri for some time and one day he returned to Kulia in Navadvip to visit his mother and to take darshan of Ganga. At that time, Lord Chaitanya told Devanand Pandit, he met him. Already the devotion, the seed of devotion, love that Vakreshwar planted was growing in his heart. Pride was not there. And Lord Chaitanya that time looked at Devanand Pandit for the first time with merciful glance and he said, because you have rendered service to Vakreshwar Pandit, now I consider you as my own. Vakreshwar Pandit is completely empowered by the Lord. He has attained Krishna and is in full Krishna Bhakti. Krishna has made his home in the heart of Vakreshwar Pandit. And in the heart of Vakreshwar Pandit, Sri Krishna dances in ecstasy and because of that, Vakreshwar Pandit also dances in ecstasy. Wherever Vakreshwar Pandit, whatever place Vakreshwar Pandit blesses with his association, becomes a holy place of pilgrimage, more sacred than all the holy places where Vakreshwar Pandit is performing his kirtan. That is the power of Vakreshwar. He is fully empowered by Krishna. That is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his own lotus mouth glorified Vakreshwar. In this way, Vrindavan Das Thakur writes the glories of Sri Vakreshwar Pandit. Although Sri Vakreshwar Pandit had previously lived in Navadvip, he left Navadvip and he went to Jagannath Puri along with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He entered Kashi Mishra's house, Gambhira, and he installed deities, Radha Radha Kanta, and worshipped them, took care of them, and he stayed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Charitamrita stays. Amongst the devotees who accompanied Lord Jagannath in Puri two were prominent, Swarup Damodar and Paramananda Puri. But amongst the others was Gadadhar, Jagadananda, Shankara, Vakreshwar Pandit, Damodar Pandit and Thakur Haridas. All these great devotees had been associates from very beginning of Lord pastime. When the Lord took up residence in Jagannath Puri, they remained there to serve him. So today is Vakreshwar Pandit's appearance day. Very interestingly, he passed away on the Shashti, that is the next day, that is tomorrow, on some other year of Ashad month. So let us offer our Dandavat Pranam in hearts to Vakreshwar Pandit, who had the ecstasy of Tungavidya Devi, of singing and dancing for the pleasure of the Lord. And to a Vaishnava offender like Devanand Pandit, he delivered him by his ecstatic kirtan and singing. This is what Harinam Sankirtan, I have seen many devotees, even today also. When they hear somebody singing with great love at heart, not expert in singing from classical point of view. When someone sings with love, I have seen people who are atheistic, critical about devotees and anti-devotees turn favorable to devotion. So what is most important is love at heart, sincerity of heart. Janava Devi also, she would just walk and glance at people and people would become ecstatic in love, would fall on the ground in ecstasy. Because her heart was so much filled in love. Nityananda Prabhu would look at people and they would fall like blades of grass from trees. So, ultimately what matters is heart. If heart is sincere, we may not be very advanced devotees, very learned, many thousands of years of devotion, many lifetimes, it may not be there. But whatever today we are trying to do, we must do with heart. Whatever little things we do, like Prabhupada would take out currency note from his wallet, but he would take out with such a grace and such appreciation that he is touching Lakshmi and now it is being used in service to Krishna. How we do, how rich man will do, take out and then throw away like this. But Prabhupada would exhibit in his very small, insignificant activity that he had so much love and devotion for Krishna. So today also, whatever we do, we may be doctors, we may be managers, we may be rich people, educated, learned, eloquent, doing so many things in life. But let us all do all those things, little or big, with devotion and sincerity of heart. And let us put our heart into those activities, whether they are insignificant or big activities. Whether they are noticeable activities or nobody is noticing them. Whether they are going to yield you a respect or not going to yield you respect. Whether they will be giving you recognition or no. But do those activities in service to Krishna with heart. With no selfishness, no ulterior motivation, no politics or no some selfish gain for oneself. Sri Krishna is not looking at the volume of the activities that we are performing. Sri Krishna is looking at the consciousness of the activity. He is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. Although we do big services in Krishna consciousness, if the heart is proud because of the volume of the services, Sri Krishna neglects those services. If someone like the squirrel at the time of Setu Bandha of Lord Ramchandra, most insignificant service. The millions of lifetimes she does rolls in the dust and throws some dust in the Setu area in direction. You can imagine never Setu will be there. It can never build the Setu. But Lord Ramchandra noticed the bhav of squirrel and also mildly chastised Hanuman also. That kind of Lord we have who is Bhavagrahi. So we don't have to worry whether we are doing very big service or very small service, whether we are going to be noticed or we are going to be neglected by the leaders. You do your service with full of your heart, with selfless motive, with no ulterior motivation, nothing to gain, just to please the Lord. That simple feeling of desiring to please the Lord through the insignificant service is most attractive to the Lord. Lord will even neglect Hanuman's service in one sense, as the pastime goes, and give full attention to the squirrel and bless the squirrel. So we have the hope, although we may not be doing great service, but please, we have one hope that whatever we do, if we pour our heart into that and do it heartfully, then it is guaranteed that Sri Krishna will be pleased. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is there any question, comment by anybody? Anyone like to add something? Ask some question? Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai. Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. There are some announcements.